You're listening to the Vox Media Podcast Network.
This is What the Heck with Mike Heck on MMAfighting.com. Now, here is your host, Mike Heck.
What the heck?
Well, hello there, everybody, and welcome to a brand new edition of What the Heck right here on MMA Fighting. I am Mike Heck, and I cannot believe that this is the 27th episode of the show. It's pretty crazy. Feels like this is like the third episode in a lot of ways, and in some other ways, it feels like the 150th episode. But all in all, I really appreciate y'all checking out the show this and each and every week right here on the MMA Fighting platform of networks, whether on the podcasting feed or Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, the YouTube page, etc. Appreciate it very much. Another fun one in store for you this week. Of course, UFC 253 is in the books. Israel Adesanya with a masterclass performance against Paulo Costa in the main event. He retains the middleweight title. Dominant performance. We talked all about it on Between the Links. Jan Blachowicz is the UFC light heavyweight champion, and if you told me that was going to happen a year and a half, 2 years ago, I would not have believed you. So I hope people can really appreciate the road this man took to become a world champion and the resiliency of that man in general, because around 3.5 years ago, Jan Blachowicz had lost to Patrick Cummins, and that was his fourth loss in 5 fights. So he'd lost 4 out of his last 5, and he's come all the way back to win 8 of his last 9. He's won his last 4. He finished Luke Rockhold, finished Corey Anderson along the way to earn his title shot against Dominic Reyes for the vacant belt, and is now the UFC light heavyweight champion of the world. And as great as Israel Adesanya was, and he deserves all the credit in the world for his performance because it's one of the all-time great title fight performances, one of the all-time great title defenses, the Jan Blachowicz story is phenomenal and extremely underrated because of how good Adesanya was. And he is now the first man not named John Jones or Daniel Cormier in just under a decade to wear that title around his waist. It's just unbelievable. That's why this sport is the best. So when I see negativity and stuff about MMA, like, I understand that there are negative stories and stuff, but why be so negative about the sport when you have stories like this? A guy who lost 4 out of 5 fights less than 4 years ago to come all the way back and become, let's be honest, one of the more unlikely world champions in UFC history. The man has done it, the man has earned it, and he did it all his way. Unbelievable. Congratulations to Jan Blachowicz and to Israel Adesanya, but it was an interesting event. Got to pick me up for sure during the main card, especially the last 3 fights. We'll talk more about that in a little bit. This Saturday, the UFC is back with another event. I feel like this is a sentence I say all the time, and it will be until at least December 12th. But this Saturday, UFC Fight Island 4 will be headlined by Holly Holm versus Irene Aldana. Important fight in the women's bantamweight division. Aldana, if she wins, definitely going to get the next title shot. If Holly Holm wins, it's going to be a circus, ladies and gentlemen. Main event, heavyweights, Yorga de Castro versus Carlos Felipe. Someone's going to sleep in that one. And then before that, another great fight in the women's bantamweight division, Jermaine Duranamy versus Juliana Pena. Carlos Condit is back against Court McGee. We're going to be discussing a couple of the under-the-radar fights on that card coming up on the show. But before we do that, I'd be remiss if I didn't shout out a legend right now. The GOAT, the greatest photographer in MMA history, in combat sports history, maybe in all of sports. Big shout out to the great Esther Lynn, who announced on the A side earlier this week that she is no longer with us at MMA Fighting. She wants to create. She wants to be creative. That's who she is. And she's doing this on her own. She wants to continue to photograph. She wants to venture into the voiceover world, which someone who's come from that world, at least from a radio background and voicing hundreds of commercials, Esther is going to absolutely crush the voiceover world. She's going to crush it. She's going to take it over. Within the next year, you're going to hear her voice everywhere. So we had the Zoom call on Wednesday. It was like a virtual going away party because COVID and we can't all be in the same room together. It was just really weird being on that call. I mean, it was an honor to be there just because we're saying bye to Esther and she's a colleague, but just being on that call with some of the greats from MMA fighting, the seeing the shoes that we've had to fill, the Ariel Helwanis, the Chuck Mindenhalls, the Mark Ramundis, Sean El-Shadi, Ben Folks, and so forth and so on. The list goes on. They're all on the call. And it was just weird being like the rookie amongst these legends all over the place. And I got to work with Esther for 6 months. So this is like going on to month 7. And I've met Esther a couple times covering events in the past. I think the last one that we were at together covering for different outlets was in November at UFC 244 at Madison Square Garden. And she's just so nice. Anytime I had a question or wanted to shoot the breeze, she was just so nice. It was just amazing. And then, it's just an honor to work with her even for 6 months. It really was. She created all these amazing graphics that you see all over the place. And there are probably times where I just annoyed her to no end asking for graphics or this and that. And she never yelled at me once. And I completely appreciate that. And she will be sorely missed by me, by the rest of the MMA fighting crew, past and present, and the entire sport in general. So I tip my proverbial cap to you, Esther Lynn, and I speak for everybody when I say we wish you all the best in this next chapter and that you rule. Esther Lynn rules. Make that hashtag a real thing. But kudos on a incredible career. Hopefully we see you back. Hopefully you get to photograph stuff soon. And I think I speak for all of us once again when I say we can't wait to see the next photographs you take in the next commercial you voice or audiobook that you voice or touring a museum and hearing your voice reciting the historical benefits and background of all of these great things. But kudos to Esther Lynn as we transition to the lineup for this week's show. And we'll get to our first guest in a matter of moments. Wrapping us up this week, William Knight. He is back home from Fight Island, and he's back home with a UFC win under his belt. He defeated Aleksa Camur at UFC 253. We will recap his big night to put a bow on this week's show. Another fighter set to make his Octagon debut on Fight Island this Saturday is Jordan Williams. After getting a big finish on the Contender Series, he's going to take on Nasruddin Imanov at UFC Fight Island 4. He expects to make this a very quick night. He has his reasons why. We'll chat with the UFC's newest middleweight on the program in just a little bit. Casey Kenney is back in action this Saturday as well. He will face Haley Alatang. That should be a fun one at 135 pounds. The always positive former 2-division LFA champ, Casey Kenney, will join us this week. And a little teaser for you. He wants to make this trip to Abu Dhabi worth his while. I'll leave it at that. It's pretty cool stuff. We mentioned the incredible performances of Israel Adesanya and Jan Blachowicz, but how about Brandon Royval, the Raw Dog, submits Kai Kara France, just his second fight in the Octagon, and this guy is in the mix for the flyweight title already, and what a perfect placement for this fight. It led right into the 2 title fights, and the fight was bananas for as long as it lasted. Brandon's still in Abu Dhabi, and he's going to be there for at least another week and a half, so great to check in with Brandon Royval. You'll hear that conversation coming up in around 20-25 minutes or so. But first, it's been a few weeks trying to make this happen, but we finally got it done. Coming off an amazing main event fight a few weeks back with Angela Hill. Let's check in with the karate hottie, Michelle Waterson. She kicks us off this week on What the Heck. All right, we have Michelle Waterson on the show, and a few weeks back, she defeated Angela Hill in the main event of UFC Vegas 10. Happy to be joined by the victorious fight mom herself on the program for the first time. Michelle, how are you?
I'm amazing, enjoying my family. We just got back from a camping trip, so doing good.
There you go. I see you've healed up well. No more remnants of the fight because you guys went at it for about 25 minutes. It was a great fight. How are you feeling now physically?
Oh, it's great. I've been fighting for so long. When you're in the fight, your adrenaline's going. You don't feel any of those things, obviously. Everybody takes damage differently. But, they were superficial bumps and bruises. They were gone within the week. And, anytime you get bumps and bruises and you come home with the victory, none of that matters.
Yeah, I mean, like we said, it was a very competitive matchup between you two ladies. It came down to the third and final judge. You're standing in the octagon just waiting for the name to be read. How much of a relief was it to hear Michelle Waterson is the winner of the fight from the ring announcer? Because that must have been like, woof.
Yeah, absolutely. You never want to leave it in the hands of the judges, but when both people show up to compete, that's what happens. And I was confident I was going to get my hand raised. In my head, in my mind, in my heart, there was no other option but to win.
You've been a part of some really good battles over the years, but this is one of those fights that even a few weeks later, it still kind of carried over a little bit longer than your typical MMA fight or main event because of how competitive and how gritty and heart-shown that fight was. Of course, in an ideal situation, you want to go in the octagon, get a quick finish, but to be part of a great fight like that was universally praised and still is, what does that mean to you?
Well, it means the world. We put our heart out on the lines for the world to see, and when you're able to put together an awesome performance that people always continually talk about, that's great. We, at the end of the day, we are here to entertain, and especially in the time of need where people tune into sports as a means of an outlet. For sure, I'll put on my warrior spirit and show that us as a human race have that warrior spirit within all of us.
And your division, if you look at maybe like the top 10, 12 fights of 2020, two of them are clearly in your division between your fight and then the one between Joanna and Weili Zhang. Strawweight is on fire right now.
I tell people all the time the strawweight division is the most stacked division in the female roster of the UFC. The girls just show up to fight. Not only are they full of heart and will and determination, but technically very sound fighters with amazing resumes, even outside of the top 10. And I constantly am reminding people of that. And the girls are too. Anytime they are slated to fight, they show up to fight. I did pull lots of inspiration after watching Joanna and Weili, banging out for 5 rounds and have that back and forth. I wanted to show people that I'm right there with them.
Did you feel like a little bit more free and loose heading into this fight? Because it seemed like in the fights with Joanna and Carla, I don't know if there's like something holding you back. Maybe you were so focused on specific game plans or whatnot. But this one, it just seemed like, okay, you know what? Let's just fight. Let me punch her in the face and we'll go from there. Like, is that accurate? Was the approach a little more you, I should say?
Yeah, you hit the nail on the head. That's exactly what it is. I think as a fighter, when you start getting closer to the top, you can allow the pressure of getting there, overcome you, and you can be. There's so many things that go into a fight. There's the outside noise. There's the politics of it. There's the rankings of it, and then there's the actual fight. There's the mental side of the fight, and there's the physical side of the fight. And then inside of the physical, there's stand-up, ground, wrestling, jiu-jitsu, cage work, groundwork. So there's all these things, and you can just become overwhelmed with everything, and the trajectory of where your career is going to go if you go left or right. And I decided to just leave that all behind, go in there and be in the moment. Me and my sports psychologist really worked on that. What is it that you want to feel when you step inside that octagon? What is it that what is it that you're after? And we realized it wasn't necessarily the win. It was the idea that I was able to implement the things that I've learned over 2 decades in a fight. And that's when I really am able to get in the zone and shine, is when I can go in there and be a complete martial artist. And like you said, just punch somebody in the face.
How long have you been working with a sports psychologist, if you don't mind me asking?
I would say, I think it was after my fight with Tisha that I started working with him, and I hope that's the right time frame. Sorry, Dr. Shannon, if that's not, but he's been working with me. He got me through 2 wins, and then we went through a rough patch. We had those 2 losses, and that's where you grow the most. And we kept working at it, and just like the physical side of anything you put into to play, anything you are working on implementing, it takes time and it takes practice, it takes consistency. And we really needed to see, you know, if these things were going to work when we were low, when we were down. How could we get out of these ruts that we were in?
How important is like visualization between your relationship with the sports psychologist? Does he tell you to visualize like every moment, like in the locker room when you're walking out? Is it more than just the fight itself?
Yeah, absolutely. And because it is, you know, if you talk to any champion, they'll tell you how important your mental strength is. The fight is won or lost before you even step in the cage. It's your physiology. It's your state of mind. It's what you decide to focus on, your intent, your story. All of these things, they come into play. And it's not just visualization, it's your imagery. You know, when you see Mike Tyson talking about how he's going to walk into the ring, you don't just see him talk about it. He takes you into his world and shows you, allows you to feel, allows you to see, allows you to smell everything that he's thinking. When Israel Adesanya is talking about what he's going to do, he does the same thing. When Conor McGregor is visualizing what he's going to do to be a 2-time world champion in 2 different divisions, he's not just visualizing it, he's living it. And that's the difference between real strong mental game and a bit of a weaker one, because you can visualize it, but that's just only one sense. You know, you got to be able to feel it. You got to feel what it feels like for you, you know, for my glove to hit her face. I have to be able to smell what it is when she's bleeding. What does that smell like when I have her up against the cage? What is it? What does her body feel like? How shallow are her breaths when I'm on top of her, throwing those elbows? You know, what is my body language like when I get my hand raised? What is my body language like when I land in Vegas and I have to quarantine? You know, all those things.
You mentioned some of the factors heading into the fight, one of them being outside noise. And I don't know how much you pay attention to like social media and what people have to say, but you know, this wasn't the original main event. And once it was announced that you and Angela were getting the bump up, it was met, I would say, with like mixed reviews at best. But to go out there and prove a lot of people wrong, was that on your mind at all to, you know, make people think differently once the fight ended, being like, see, I told you we were the right main event?
I didn't know people were thinking that. You know, in my mind, I was perceiving it as, you know, a blessing in disguise, and that's how I took it. And I took it and I ran with it. I had full confidence that Ange and I would go in there and put on a show. Like I said, the strawweights always do. I don't know why anybody would think anything different. But I think you become a bit numb to the outside noise as long as I've been fighting. You know, if you allow that stuff to get into your head, it is a huge distraction and it's a huge waste of time.
You got your brown belt after the win, which was really cool. So congratulations on that. It was just a really cool moment to see. I love when that happens after these fights. Did you expect that to happen, or did it catch you completely by surprise?
Yeah, not at all. Not at all. Definitely honored. Absolutely. We've been working on our jiu-jitsu game for quite a long time. And definitely was part of the game plan, but you can never force those things to happen, you know. Yeah, for sure honored. I don't feel like, you know, I guess it's one of those things, like I still feel like I'm not undeserving of it. I feel like I have lots of work to do, but, you know, I guess the journey from brown to black is a hard journey as well. So I'm not going to complain about getting promoted. I'm just going to, you know, keep my head down and continue to grind and continue to learn.
It's a great moment, but it's like a little humbling at the same time. It lets you know that you still have some room to grow still, right?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. That's why I love MMA.
You said after the fight that you wanted something next to get you closer to the belt. And, you know, it looks like Zhang is going to fight Rose Namajunas in her next title defense. Carla Esparza and Amanda Ribas have agreed to fight on December 12th. Joanna's still kind of hanging out there, but you just fought her around a year ago. There's Tatiana Suarez, but she's been hurt. So kind of a interesting spot for you to be in at the moment, is it not?
It definitely is, but like I'm not going to complain. Like you said, I want to take a fight that's going to get me closer to the belt. I'm not interested in anything else. So I honestly, it's been kind of a crazy year, and I'm staying ready. And you never know what will happen. So we'll see.
A lot of people, like, everyone's matchmaker after these cards. And one of the names that kept getting brought up for you, which I don't know if it makes a lot of sense to you, is Mackenzie Dern, because, she bounced back with the Amanda Hebus fight. She's got a couple of quick finishes. She's moving her way up. But again, since the division is filling up, there's not a ton of options for her either. So what are your thoughts on that potential matchup, should that be brought to your attention?
It doesn't make sense to me. I think I'm at a different spot in terms of how close I am to the belt versus where she's at. And that's no jab at her. She's been doing amazing. She's an amazing jiu-jitsu player and has been able to utilize her skills to get her where she's at now. I do think that I'm in a different spot than she is. Makes
sense. And then, we talked about how exciting 115 is, and you're there, and Joanna, we mentioned all the names, but now we're seeing fighters like Mackenzie, like Amanda, start to make their names up the ladder as well. So how exciting is that for you, knowing that there's just so much talent within the division, but now it's emerging as well? You're going to be busy, you're going to be motivated for the next couple of years, fighting some fresh faces as well.
Yeah, it is motivating. And I always tell people that you can't just keep your eye on the top 10 of the division, because these girls that the UFC are signing, already come with a very, very impressive resume. And, they're hungry to get to the top, and the faster they get to the top, that's their ultimate goal. I always tell people it's like the Highlander, there could be only one. And we'll see what happens. I'm super close, and so my focus is the top. And obviously, you always have to check your back and make sure that nobody's coming from behind to sneak you one. But my eyes on the prize ahead of me.
When do you want to come back in an ideal situation? If in a perfect world, when would you like to fight again?
It really depends on what the landscape looks like in a little bit. It is kind of like you said, it is kind of up in the air. So maybe before the end of the year, maybe the beginning of next year. We'll see.
You mentioned the Highlander reference, which was phenomenal, by the way. But I think I saw an interview you did with Pop Culture, and you said that one of your goals in life would be to appear in a Marvel Comics movie, because that's pretty cool. My kid loves Marvel movies and Marvel Comics and stuff. Why Marvel, and what would that mean to you should that opportunity come your way?
My daughter is like a huge Marvel fan. She knows all the movies. She can quote, all of the cool sayings, and she knows all the superheroes, and she likes to stay to watch the secret endings, and they spend hours watching all the little secret nuggets that they have. And I just think it would be super cool. I do believe my daughter already thinks so well of me, but I do think it would be a little cherry on top for her to say my mom's a superhero in Marvel. And Marvel's like the top of the top.
What would be like cooler for her, you being in a superhero in a Marvel movie, or you becoming a world champion?
I don't know. You'd have to ask her.
All right, fair enough. Are you like a movie buff yourself? Like, is there like a movie that comes on the television that no matter what time of day you're watching it, no matter what, you're never going to change the channel?
We don't have cable, but we do have Netflix and like Amazon Prime. And so I have a bad habit of binging on things kind of as my way to kind of wind down at the end of the night. One of the series that I've been watching a lot lately is The 100. I think it's like a really, really fun and interesting show. There are tons, Dexter was one of my favorite. Obviously, Breaking Bad that they filmed out here in New Mexico. Ozarks.
Yep.
I'm listing off the things that that are like, man, those are classics. Let me see. Yeah, but those are kind of the ones that I can think of off the top of my head.
Last thing before we let you go, I'm curious because this fight, I looked at the calendar. I'm like, man, this is going to be here before you know it. But the next big title fight, Khabib versus Justin Gaethje on October 24th. As a fighter and as a fan, I'm sure you're as excited as anybody else to sit down and watch that one. But how do you see that fight playing out? Do you have any kind of an idea, any prediction?
Man, that's going to be an amazing fight, honestly. I hope for it to go all 5 rounds. Just, from a fan's perspective, to be able to see 2 masters in there duking it out for 5 rounds, I do feel like it'll be very technical. I think Khabib really surprised me with his stand-up in his last fight. And I think Gaethje really surprised me in his last couple of fights, not giving in to his emotional impulse to stand and bang.
Your mind can change. It's one of those fights where I feel like we're going to be teeter-tottering. So on this day, what's your gut telling you?
Gaethje.
Whoa. All right. Tomorrow could be a different answer. It's just one of those kinds of fights. But listen, your fight was phenomenal. It was one of those main events that it's going to be like an on this date kind of a fight. Like every single year, it's going to be like on this date. 2 years ago, Michelle Waterson and Angela Hill fought in the main event. It's just one of those classic fights that people are going to be talking about for a long time. So I'm glad we're able to do this. Thank you for the time. All the best to you and the family, Michelle. Really appreciate it.
I appreciate that. And, that's all I want is to be, is to have a legacy when all is said and done.
First time had the chance to speak with Michelle Waterson. She's just a delight. Just good people. Definitely in a very interesting spot in a loaded, exciting division right now. She wants to get up those rankings, but as she sort of laid out for us, she might have to wait a little bit to see how some of these fights in the division play out. I think the Carla Esparza, Amanda Ribas fight is going to be an important one. Like, I know Michelle and Carla just fought, but if Amanda Ribas beats Carla Esparza, I know people will be like, you know what? Let's just give her a title shot. Let's just get her right up there to fight Zhang Weili. I'm not necessarily in that camp because Amanda's a up-and-coming star. You don't want to slow down the momentum. You want to keep building her up a little bit. So I think if Amanda Ribas defeats Carla Esparza, that shoots her up the ranks in a big way. She'll probably move into the top 5. Then you do Ribas versus Waterson, main event, and we go from there. But great interview. Glad we got the chance to do this. So let's talk to one of the big winners right now from this past Saturday night at UFC 253. He set up the 2 title fights beautifully with a second-round submission win over Kai Kara-France. Let's say hello once again to Brandon Royval. All right, what a night it was for Brandon Royval. He submits Kai Kara-France in the second round with a guillotine choke at UFC 253 this past Saturday night in the featured bout at 125 pounds. Huge night for Brandon, and it's actually turned out to be an even bigger stretch of time for his nickname, the Raw Dog. But we'll talk about all that right now with Brandon Royval. How are you, man?
I'm doing good. And yourself?
I'm doing great. So you're still in Abu Dhabi. You're still on Fight Island. How are you enjoying this extra time there? I assume you can walk around a little bit more and see the sights because you've already done the whole quarantine thing, right?
Yeah. So I think Alex and I went to the beach like yesterday. So I think that's where I'm gonna spend all tomorrow, just at the beach and just hang out. The UFC has like a really cool setup out here. We didn't explore it before because, like I said, it was just quarantine, and we were staying on Denver time, which is like the opposite time. So I haven't even been in the sun until yesterday and the day before that, and we pulled like 24. We pulled like an all-nighter like right after the fight. Well, like it's like an all-dayer because we were sleeping in the day, but and then we went to the beach all yesterday, and so I'm trying to go back to normal time before Yusuf's fight, and then I'll switch back when Yusuf comes back. But I have that like ability because I worked overnights my whole entire goddamn life, so like, I'm pretty good at it. You know what I'm saying? But all the rest of them are like they just woke up now and stuff. So yeah, I'm kind of switching off with everybody right now and just getting sleep when I can, kind of thing.
So when you go back?
I feel like back in the old days. I go back right after Yusuf's fight in like 2 weeks.
Oh, so you're there all the way until. Oh, okay, so you have to stay out there because you're cornering. So if you were cornering, say if Yusuf is fighting on the 17th, would you have to stay out there the entire time until the 17th?
I think they might let me fly back, but it's super expensive for tickets out there. So, and they were saying like, if I would have flew back, I would have already been like, I would have one day before I had to be back to Las Vegas and all that. So there was no point in me staying all the way out there. And I wouldn't want to go on a plane, fly away to Las Vegas, stay in Las Vegas and come back. But
yeah, that's true. Man, that fight was crazy on Saturday night. I mean, that first flurry is what everybody's been talking about. He clips you, you hit him back, he hits you back, and then you land that freaking spinning back elbow that clipped him. It was just one of the wildest exchanges that you'll ever see in a fight. When he clipped you with that first punch, I guess like walk me through whatever you can sort of remember from that point and like what's going on through your mind as this flurry of craziness is going on.
So I never really like lost consciousness or like didn't know what was happening. The whole entire time I knew what was going on. I knew I was like, oh, I'm fucked. I knew that like hit me in the head. That like hit me right off the bat is I'm in a bad situation right now. But the first punch, like when he hit me, he rocked me for sure. Like it wasn't like he like not like I originally kind of thought he knocked me off balance, but like I kind of remember the middle of it. I'm like, oh shit, like he's gonna come finish, like try to finish me right now. You know what I'm saying? Like, and a little bit of like what's going on through my head too is like as soon as I got hit, I was like we worked the whole entire camp. Don't circle right. Don't stay right in front of his fucking right hand because that's the only thing. That's the only like thing that's gonna make the difference in the fight. Like the fight could be yours the whole entire time. Don't stay in front of that right hand. And like as soon as I got hit, I'm like, fuck, I'm gonna get in trouble. But as soon as he hit me, I hit that knee and then I went to go pop right back up and I fell right back down, which I didn't know that part. Like that's the part I didn't remember about that. Cause I thought he hit me, he came to finish me. And then that's when I caught him. But yeah, he came running up on me and he ran up on me. I just walked right into it, which is like the greatest thing. And literally, this is literally what like went through my mind. This is how like desperate I am to be making money out on these streets, bro. Is that the moment I hit him with that back elbow, I'm like 50 G's. I was like, there's that bonus, baby. And even if I guess I didn't finish him right there, but like even like nothing happened else exciting there. I was like, that 50 G's is ours for sure, because all the rest of the fights were kind of boring before then. So like right in my head, I was like, yep, that's mine. And like, so that's kind of like all like the first thoughts that were going in my head is like, oh yeah, we're making money this way. I even said that to him like at a certain point in the fight. I'm like, oh yeah, we're getting these 50 G's, baby.
So one of the things that was kind of in question with the fight is after the spinning back elbow and that exchange is the knee. He's down, there's the knee, and it looked like in real time like it might have been illegal, but they didn't show the replay. And then John Anik said like probably a couple minutes later, he goes, we're being told by the production truck that the knee landed on the neck and not in the head or the face region, so it may not have been an illegal knee after all. Where did that knee land, if you don't mind me asking?
It did. It landed like right here in the neck. I saw the replay of it, and that's the only reason I know why. But that being said, is like it wasn't because my intentions wasn't to hit him in the face. Like right. I got hit, and I was reacting. You know what I'm saying? And like that is like a pure fight instinct. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm not like one of those dudes. I think about the rules when I'm fighting. Like if you're like hands on the ground and I'm thinking about throwing a kick, I'm throwing the kick, man. Like, and that's just like that's what it is. I'm in a fight. Like I don't do the whole tire. Like I mean, like I do it. Like I try to follow the rules and like. By all means, I definitely want to follow the rules, and I definitely don't want to hit him in the knee in the face while he's on the ground. But that being said, I'm in fight or flight mode, man. Like I'm not one of those dudes that like I'm very conscious of what I'm doing out there. Like it's not like when he hit me, I'm like, oh, he's gonna walk into his back elbow. I'm fucking flying by the seat of my like. I'm just as surprised I landed as all you guys, bro. And like the moment he dropped, I was like, knee, boom. You know what I'm saying? And like. That's the second time in my career where I barely like I tried to knee someone when they were possibly on the ground and like I barely missed it and it could have made the difference. Because when I fought Jerome Rivera, I kicked him and he fell over and like the cage stopped him from him hitting his ass on the ground. But like he could have been on the ground for all I cared at the moment because like I was going for the finish. You know what I'm saying? And like that's all that hit like my instincts is like I went to go knee Jerome Rivera in the face and like I didn't know if he was on the ground or not, but like. I didn't have time to think about it, and I just went for it, you know? And same thing with Kai Kara-France is I didn't have time to think about it. I dropped him. He's running up on me, and all I could think about was knee, so I threw it, you know? And like I said, I tried to hit him in the face, and it like I really was trying to hit him in the face with it. It was a miss more than anything, and I'm so glad it missed because one, maybe I could have hurt him and ended the fight in like an illegal way, but or I could have got DQ'd too. And like those are two things that like I don't want to do necessarily. But that being said, it was not out of like, oh, I meant to knee him in the neck. I was going for his face, and it just happened to hit him in the neck, and I lucked out there for both of us, I guess.
Wow, so it was a good miss, like they say, like
it was
on the
a really
golf
good
course.
miss. It was a really good miss, and I'm grateful I missed the shot for both of us because, I mean, I don't think he got hurt. Like I think that he probably would have ate it. Kai Kara-France is a tough guy, you know what I'm saying? But like the ill intentions were there for sure. Like I was going for the face, for sure going for the face. Happy I missed because I would have gotten in trouble. The fight could have been over or whatever happened, you know. And like, I don't know.
When you're covering these events and you're working for a site like the one I work for, there's like a million things going on. So you're watching the fights, plus you're like trying to do other things and get ready and write up articles and all this other stuff. So
yeah, bro, I feel for you guys on that because I was questioning that too because I'm over here trying to watch the Ray's fight. And I'm like, you guys have to interview me. Like, how are you going to interview this dude when you're watching? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm trying to watch a fight. Like, I don't know how you guys get shit done there, man.
It's crazy. Yeah. Jose, our boots on the ground, just crushing it out there. But like, I remember between the first and second round, Mark Montoya is talking to you and he's giving you advice. And basically it's what you alluded to earlier, like stay away from his right hand. Like you're doing great. And then he threw it to Alex. And that's where like I lost it, or they went to the other corner. So I didn't hear what Alex said to you between the first and second rounds. He's the newest member of your team, but obviously you guys mesh well. So Mark threw it to him to give you some advice. What did Alex say to you in that moment?
He first off, it was funny because he came to me. He's like right after the fight, he's like, he like passed me the torch and he wasn't ready for it. But he reiterated what Mark said, which is really what I needed the most is I need to circle right and I need to stay away from that power hand. Cause once I get hit, bro, I go in fight or flight mode and I'm just starting to fight. You know what I'm saying? And I'm walking forward no matter what it is. And I think it was still a little bit the same with after the second round. But he was just saying circle right. And then as soon as we get close, man, he goes, your elbows are there. Your elbows and your knees are there. And that's what we were kind of game planning is Kai Kara-France dips a lot. And like he dips to set up that right hand, which is perfect. And that's what he does really well. And, but I can time him. And then like, not only can I time him on that knee, is more importantly, I can just keep him afraid of what I'm doing. You know what I'm saying? Like I can just keep him guessing. And like next time he wants to go throw that right hand, he's going to second guess that he could dip into that knee. So he was just saying when he comes in close, throw the elbows and knees. And that was like perfect advice too. It was just, like I said, they didn't give me like a ton of advice. They just gave me like little key notes to stick with. And that's exactly what you need because my mind's already overloaded in that situation. But like, literally when I went back to that corner, I felt so good, man. I felt like I was having fun in there, like for sure. I knew at that point, I'm like 50 G's are ours for sure. Like we're definitely scoring like these, like, cause I thought I got dropped twice. I didn't realize that I only got dropped one time in that round, but I thought I got dropped twice and I knew I dropped him twice. So I was like, damn, we're getting money for sure. Like, so in that point, I was already just having fun and enjoying the moment. And, I already knew, like, I was like, this is a good fight for sure. Like, this is definitely like a good fight. And I've never had that in my head where I was like, we're in the middle of a fight. And I'm like, damn, this is a good one. So that was cool.
And I'm not disrespecting anybody else that was on the card, but we needed that so badly because I feel like the action slowed down quite a bit. Maybe it was just the competitive matchups. Yeah. It was not like nobody was going for anything that whole entire time. Like right when I walked out, Alex turned to me and he goes, you're talking about making this bonus. He goes, this is yours for the taking. Like, this is your bonus money. There's nobody out there took that money. He goes, it's your time to go take that money. And like, literally I went out there and I was like, I knew I was going to make $58,000 extra dollars. I already knew it. Like, I know who my opponent was is Kai Kara-France. And he's going to go over there and try to murder me. You know what I'm saying? And the same thing, you know, like vice versa. And I think he thought like a little bit in his head that I was going to try to shoot on him. And I knew, I was like, I'm not going to fucking shoot on this guy. I'm going to go strike with him. And that's how this fight's going to go down. I'm going to go out on my shield or whatever, but I knew I wasn't going to shoot. And if it goes down to the ground, it's because I dropped him or he dropped me. And like, that's a little bit what it was, but he ended up shooting in the long run. So. Yeah. Were you surprised he shot? I mean, I understand that you were hurting him a little bit on the feet, but were you surprised that he actually shot on you when everyone expected you to shoot on him?
No, I knew I was touching him up on the feet and like he smoked me with that right hand. He definitely landed the better of the punches. Like I think, well, maybe not like as far as damage though, I think he throws the harder punches for sure. Like he's a harder hitter of this too. There's no questions about that. But, I think I was piecing him up. You know what I'm saying? I think that he had that one moment where he landed and he was landing like maybe a couple other hard shots, but I think for the most part, like I was whooping his ass on the feet. Like I think I was taking it to him a little bit. And, that's what they were saying. My corner was saying that. And I was telling them like, it's not going to happen, but they were saying like, before the fight, they're like, he's gonna get desperate and shoot on you. He's like, you're gonna overwhelm him and he's gonna shoot on you. I think that's what I was saying in our interview too.
Yeah.
Like, I think I'm gonna overwhelm him. And I was saying it because I was reiterating what my corner was saying. I didn't think that he was ever gonna shoot me, but like what my coaches were saying, they're like, yeah, dude, he's definitely gonna shoot on you. He's gonna get desperate. He's gonna take a shot, and that's when you're gonna finish him. And that's exactly what happened. And I had probably like 3 of my cornermen already said, they're like, you're gonna get a guillotine on him because he's gonna shoot on you, and then you're gonna wrap that up, and that's gonna be the end of the round. And I was like, sure, like maybe. And so when he did take that shot on me, I didn't necessarily know I had the guillotine, but I knew the fight was over in the sense of like I knew I had him like not where he was. I knew he wasn't comfortable at that point. Like if you're shooting it on me, you're shooting it on a black belt, and you're a striker. I know that you're not comfortable. You know what I'm saying? I know that I'm getting the better of this, and I felt that in the middle of the fight too, because like there's a couple of times like where he would hit the cage, or like where I'd back him up and he was hitting the cage, and I was like, oh yeah, like I'm winning this shit. Like I already knew, like in my head, I was like, I'm walking him down. Like, and like he was throwing heat, and I was just like, I didn't really care at that point. Like I already, like he smoked me with the right hand, and like that hand, like he hit me right across the chin. That's a perfect punch. That's the perfect spot to land a punch. I didn't go out, and I was just like, all right, well, we're fighting now. Like I'm walking him down. If I get knocked out, fuck it. And if I don't, like, I didn't think I really was, you know what I'm saying? I was like, I took the best shot he had for sure. Like smoked that right on the chin. Like that couldn't have been in any worse spot. And it was loaded right hand. Like it couldn't, like everything was like first 30 seconds. I took everything he had pretty much. So I was ready for the rest of the fight, you know?
One thing I was kind of interested in seeing is if the fight played out the way you thought it would, you'd get a finish, you'd overwhelm him. Is like, how would you react to it? Because going through and like writing articles about you and like going through photos that we've taken of your first UFC fight, you're not happy in like any of them. Like even when you won, it's just like, you're like, oh, I looked like crap. Like I'm not even happy with my performance. But like this one, I was wondering, I'm like, how could he not be happy with this? And then you're talking to John Anik and like, what do you want next? And you're like, I was going to call it a top 5 guy, but I'm not going to do that because I got dropped twice. Like, I'm like, what is happening right now? Were you not happy with the performance? Like, yeah, I'm sure you're happy to get the win, but what would you grade at that point? Like, as you're talking to John Anik, what are you grading your performance, even though you got the finish?
If I'm grading the fight an A, I'm grading the fight an A+ for sure, because I knew it was a great fight, and that's what I was happy about. I knew when that fight and that bell rung, and I got that I got the submission. I was like, that's 50 G's, baby. And I was like, even at that point, like thinking in my head, I'm like, based off what these next 2 fights happen, I'm double bonusing today. I'm making $100,000 because I knew I just fucking threw a back elbow after I was rocked, and I was like, that has to look good. I went for a go right after like words, and I was like, this is like everything off that like was just flashy and good, and like I think I dropped him with like a jumping switch knee or something. Like I don't know what I dropped him with next. I've been able to watch this fight because I've been stuck in this goddamn hotel. But I've never watched this fight again. So I think I hit him with a jumping switch and he was dropping the second time. So like after I won the fight, I just knew I was like, all right, well, I don't have to go back to working. You know what I'm saying? Like that kind of like grazed my head, and then like, but as far as me, I just know you don't want to go out there and get dropped. And like the only thing I was supposed to avoid is not walk right into his right hand. And I did that 30 seconds into the fight. And I was like, well, I'm an idiot for doing that, because like that was a dumb move. We knew exactly what he was going to do, and he did it. And like for me to allow that, it's like just shows a little bit kind of lack of fighting IQ and a lack of like of just being disciplined and like in the moment, you know what I'm saying? And which is like something I like not doing too, is because like I fight a little free, you know, and like me being not disciplined allows for a back elbow, allows for a go-go plata. Like, you know what I'm saying? It allows for me to be a little bit more free. But that being said, it also makes me walk right into a right hand. You know what I'm saying? And that's what happened. And I don't know. Like I said, I had to process everything. I knew it was a good fight, and I knew I was going to make extra money for sure. I knew that like whatever happened was good. And I knew that I just took the number 7 spot in the UFC. So it was all good things in my head. But that being said, is I know that that's not what like a Conor McGregor on the rise looks like. You know, like Conor McGregor didn't get dropped in any of his fights while he won the belt. You know, he was just winning belts. Like, so I knew that like that's not the way I wanted to be. You know, and if you compare yourselves to the greats, which is if you want to be good, that's what you need to do. Is that wasn't the grade A performance, but it was a fucking grade A fight. You know, like.
It's interesting because like, you know, we've talked about your mental state and like how you approach fights, and you don't want to be there a lot of times, but then you get in there and it happens, and like you're here and then like part of you's here. But I feel like with this fight, it almost caught up in a way because yeah, you get to be free. but you're still not thrilled because you want to be at a certain level, but you also don't feel like that you belong in that space from time to time. So like, it's kind of weird for you to try to like find that happy balance. Do you feel like this fight helped you take a step towards finding that?
Yeah. And well, and here's another thing that like helped me out too is like after the win is I know Brandon Moreno didn't go out, like Brandon Moreno didn't go drop Kara France like that, like let alone twice in a round or with a back elbow and a flying knee. Pantoja wasn't doing that when he beat Kara France, and like Tyson Nam, knockout artist, fucking the great Tyson Nam, man. He didn't drop him like that. Like I don't even know if Kara France got dropped in the UFC so far, maybe by Brandon Moreno, but he didn't get dropped as cool as I dropped him. You know what I'm saying? So I knew that I had the better performances than all of them, besides me getting smoked. But like, here's another cool thing, and that this is what I was thinking too is. This is like the least nervous I've ever been before a fight, but I think this is like one of the quicker turnarounds I've ever had for a fight, where it's like I almost fought like what you want, like after like 4 months or something like that. And like me getting used to it is getting like that like situation where it's like, oh, I belong here, and like it makes me feel a little bit more at home in the octagon and stuff. And so that was helpful too. When I was walking out there, I didn't really have that like turn to my coach and just like, bro, get me the fuck out of this situation as soon as possible. Like, let's go. Like, what are we doing here, coach? Like, you're supposed to be looking out for me, man. I'm about to go fight somebody on TV. Like, what are we doing? You know what I'm saying? Like, it was like, normally it's that situation where like that time I was like, damn, this is fucking cool. Like, I'm about to go fight before Adesanya, and like, I'm going to go fight before like the middleweight belt, and like before all this stuff. And like, I don't know, man. It was more of like me embracing a moment. And I thought that was really cool. And I think that comes from just fighting back to back and like having that real close to fighting, where like before it's like been me fighting every 9 months or every year almost, you know, once a year or like maybe twice a year if I was lucky. But yeah, that was like the closest turnaround I've had in years. So that was super cool for me. And like, that was super cool to kind of go in there and not have that fucked up mind state that I had. And I think it like having like the number 9 spot in the UFC at that moment helps out a little bit too, because I think a little bit before then was like, well, if I lose this fight, like I might get cut from the UFC, because I never saw my contract. I just signed a fight, and like it didn't necessarily say a 3-fight contract or anything. It just said you're fighting Tim Elliott on this date. And like when I read through it, I'm like, fuck, do I get cut after this fight? Like, what happens? You know, if I lose this fight, am I getting cut? And like now I'm like, I'm number 9 in the world. They're not going to cut me if I get my ass whipped on this fight against number 6 or whatever, number 7 or whatever. So I kind of went in there like a little bit like less problems on me. You know what I'm saying? Like, I didn't think I was going to go in there and like, all right, this is the end of my career kind of thing.
Yeah, you opened up a lot of eyes. Dana White was singing your praises in the post-fight press conference, which was great. But one thing I noticed is that Kara France's teammate, Israel Adesanya, decided, you know what? I'm going to steal his nickname. I'm the Raw Dog now. Not Brandon. I'm the Raw Dog now. This is my thing after beating Paulo Costa. How did you react to all of this, that your nickname has taken on a life of its own here?
I know. I came in there, I think 4 months ago as Raw Dog, and then everybody else is Raw Dog now too. It's like, I've been Raw Dog before these guys ever got their weebies touched, and I'm over here getting put in the back seat now. I don't know what's going on. No, I'm just kidding. I don't know, man. It's funny. It's funny that like it kind of took that little bit of a life form, and like it sucks because I don't necessarily know if Darren Till like started the Raw Dog thing on his own, or he actually heard me like go out as Raw Dog, and then like he kind of ran off that too. So like Darren Till and Adesanya obviously have way bigger fan base and way more clout, and more importantly, they could both whoop my ass, which is like very unfortunate for me, where it's not like where I'm like, well, I'm Raw Dog, and what are you going to do about it? Like strong arm him out of it. Like, so I guess they're Raw Dog, and I'm the gorilla bender, or the last gorilla bender. I don't know, man. I got to steal something to theirs, I guess. I don't really know how that's going to work.
It's funny because like when you made your debut against Tim Elliott, like nobody knew like what the nickname was. They laughed at it. That's why I asked you like the following interview after you won, where the nickname came from, and people still kind of cringe at it. But now it's like, you know, one of the best fighters on the planet want to take it from you. It's crazy. Your nickname's gotten so much play in the last 4 months than it has in your entire career.
Right. And like I said, I think like a little bit of it, like, I don't know if Darren Till like heard that nickname and then kind of like made a joke off of it and then turned it into his own thing, or if it was like him saying he's in a Raw Dog, Mike Perry's girlfriend, and then just thinking, and then him just like, fuck it, I'm changing my name to Raw Dog now. But that being said, I felt like that fell like by my wayside, and now people stealing my nickname, and I thought like that was one of the more original things that I've ever had is like the nickname. I've never heard anybody be called Raw Dog before, and I've had that nickname for like since I was in like my first couple of fights. So I don't know, man. It was kind of like it's cool in a sense, and like it helps blow up my name because I'm getting tagged in all these like Adesanya things and Darren Till things constantly, and like so like it helps like blow up my brand. So it's like rebranding for myself in a sense. But that being said, is like I hope they don't stick with that. Like like it was kind of mine first, assholes. Like, what are you guys doing?
So social media, I would assume, has grown quite a bit since Saturday and even the Tim Elliott fight.
Yeah, it blew up, man, which is kind of cool. It's a little overwhelming, but it's also really cool because that's what you want. And that's what, like, as fighters, man, as like a marketing system is you have your social media, and that's kind of how we do it, you know? So that's been really cool, man. That was like a really cool thing that's happened. I have like fake Brandon Royval profiles and now.
Oh man, is that Alexander the Great?
Oh, he looks like a 35er. He looks all small.
Fucking 85, bro. I was looking for the belt this weekend.
Yeah, bro. Yeah, that's what they asked him. They're like, hey, Costa Paulo Costa might not make weight. Can you step in for me? Yeah. But we're worried about him popping for steroids. So
you know how people can be. It's crazy. William Knight, poor William Knight is all jacked up. He's doing things right, and everyone thinks he's on steroids too. It's crazy.
Right. That bull is big though. You know what I'm saying?
He's a big man. He's a big boy. So now
but the funny thing about being me is I don't think anybody's ever accused me of being on steroids at all. I don't have a goddamn muscle on my body.
Well, you don't need one. You're showing all us muscleless people. You don't need muscles to win fights.
Right.
So you're in this interesting spot right now where like everybody wants to matchmake for you. Like it's a cool position to be in. That means you're going places when everybody has suggestions and everyone has multiple
nobody ever
suggestions.
said it. And nobody's saying like go fight Mark De La Rosa or whatever. You know what I'm saying? Like nobody's saying it. Like, it's always everybody above me, which is really good because that's what I needed. And that's like my whole entire goal is like, all right, you got to go out there and make a statement because nobody wants to see you fight a top 5 opponent unless you go out there and make a statement. And everybody's like, let's go fight someone up. And that's the coolest part about all this right now.
Yeah, because you mentioned Askarov. You mentioned Jussier Formiga. I mentioned Manel Cape. I think that would just be so fun having two guys who came from different organizations meeting at just the right time, two former champions.
Champ. Yeah, so I think Cape and Askarov are fighting each other. So now I want Benavidez, our Formiga still. So that would be cool. It'd be cool to fight Benavidez too, man, just because that's some dude that I don't know, man. Like that's a name in itself. But like if I could get that opportunity to fight him, that's would do wonders for me and my branding, you know? Sure.
Yeah. So
that would do wonders for my branding of the Style Bender Gorilla now.
You better trademark that Raw Dog and do it fast.
I know. Sons of bitches, huh?
They're all going to try to take it. Adesanya's got that championship money too, man. It sucks.
I know, right? You're going to trademark outbuy me. I'll let him outbuy that for sure.
All right, there you go. I mean, at least you're being given here.
Yeah.
How close do you think you are to a title shot right now? Do you think you're like one win away? Like if you fight Formiga or you even get like a Benavidez fight, if you go out there and do it again, are you next?
That's title contention, right? Like I have to be somewhat close, but I mean, I get that. Like I feel like I haven't paid my dues necessarily. Like I feel like maybe I was like a little bit thrown to the wolves, and like the fact that I'm able to go answer that call is awesome, and maybe it will lead to like a quick title shot. But I also like see like maybe I need to go like pay some dues and you know like earn my keep a little bit more. But like I don't see if I go out there and fight Benavidez and go put on a show, why I wouldn't be. And like that being said, is I'm out there putting on performances. You know, that was a fucking fight and a half. Like I was. Like the homeboy has power, and like I was walking him down, walking through the power. You know what I'm saying? And I've been trying to tell people for years, like I'm an exciting fighter, man. I bring the heat. People see that I'm exciting and like just jujitsu wise, and like you're only seeing that because motherfuckers don't want to strike with me. People don't want to stand with me anymore. Like that's one of those situations like where like you get to see a little bit of my striking, you get to see like my little bit of mentality in my head, like when I get in danger, you know, and like. I already knew like what was going to happen. And I already knew like that, like I'm an exciting fighter, and it's really cool because I'm getting that love behind me now. And like, I'm having people write, like, that's the most exciting fighter in the flyweight division right now. And like, I'm getting like stuff like that. And like, I get that's just like stuff that I see right there, but like, it's cool because I haven't really got too much hate on this fight where like my last fight, people are like, you're a bitch, like this and that. And like even before the fight, you got to think about this, bro. I have 5,000 followers on Instagram, way less followers on Twitter before this fight. And these dudes are telling, like, fucking tagging my name in this, like, Brandon Royval knocked out first round. And I'm like, bitch, I see this. Like, I'm not Kai Kara-France with a big following. Like, Kai Kara-France doesn't have to see haters, bro. Like, he has a bunch of people follow. Like, I have to see this. This is like a direct message to me. Like, I see this motherfucker saying, like, you're going to get slept tomorrow. Like, you motherfucker. But, like, I don't know. Like now that I have a little bit of following, like, I'm seeing nothing but good stuff. And, like, it's really cool, man. It's really cool to see all this. And, like, I'm so happy. And I don't know, man. I just hope I can keep showing out and putting up performances, you know, and keep getting money, more importantly.
Yeah, look at you. All this bonus money. Has that first bonus check cleared yet before you got the second one?
Yeah, the first bonus check cleared. I haven't done anything with it, but it's just sitting there. So, I mean, I'm such like a pansy when it comes to spending money and stuff. So I'm sure it's never going anywhere.
Well, there you go. When do you want to get back? Like, is this, you want to get right back in there, or?
I want to fight December. I'm kind of worried. Like I said, I got clipped in that fight. So I want to like play it smart too. I've been fighting since I was 16 years old and training with like monsters in a professional fight team since I was 16 years old. So like, I don't know. I want to watch out for my head a little bit. So I'm not sure if I have any like concussion symptoms. I think I'm okay, but like, I don't want to risk going back to training super early and getting punched in the face and stuff. Like, I want to crack mitts and I want to drill and I want to do jiu-jitsu and stuff. But like, that being said, I don't want to go out there and risk unnecessary punishment. Like I said, I've seen people's careers. I'm a huge boxing fan, and I don't want to be one of those guys that stumble even more than I already do on my sentences, you know?
A couple more things before we let you go. One, are you interested at all, being a boxing fan and all of this, and seeing Conor McGregor box Manny Pacquiao? Does this interest you in any way?
I think it's a bad matchup for Conor McGregor, man. Pacquiao's a fucking beast, bro. Like, I don't know why he'd want to fight Manny Pacquiao, because Manny Pacquiao's like, one, he's small, but that motherfucker got power. I think he's on some Mexican supplements. He fucking goes so fast, he's not as calculated as Floyd Mayweather, where he's just gonna chill for 3 rounds and then let Conor McGregor work. Like, that fool's gonna try to piece him up in the first 2 for sure. Like, I don't know. Like I get that that's a money fight and Conor McGregor's been making money, but like, that being said, you don't want to go out there and get smoked by a 125-pound fucking Filipino boxer, you know?
November is going to be interesting because we got the title fight. We got Alex Perez versus Brandon Moreno. Might have Manel Kape versus Askar Askarov on that card as well, which I heard that might be the fight as well. Who wins the title? Who walks out in November with the title? You think Cody Garbrandt can do it, or is Figueiredo going to do his thing and send Cody back to 35?
I think Figueiredo's going to pull it off. I don't know if he's going to send Cody back to 35. I think 25 is a really good thing for Cody Garbrandt, but I think Figueiredo takes care of him and handles him. But I think it's just like, when I think about Figueiredo, I think that fool can just take a punch. He's a madman. You know what I'm saying? He's going to throw fucking as hard as he can. He's going to wing it. Cody Garbrandt's a madman too, but I don't think he'd take a punch like Davidson can, man. That guy seems just like he's cut from a different breed and has a different mentality, and I think that he pulls it off. But I think I give the technical aspect to Cody Garbrandt and the speed to Cody Garbrandt. So I don't know, man. And like, he has power too. So it's like, what really wins is the flyweight division in general, because like, that fight's not going to be boring, and it's not going to be like a Mighty Mouse fight where he's just so good, he's so dominant that like people don't find it entertaining anymore. Where I think it's going to go back and forth, and people are going to get dropped, and the crowd's going to, I guess there's not going to be a crowd, but everybody's going to be oohing and ahhing the whole entire time, you know?
Well, I think everyone's looking forward to seeing you back in there, Brandon. It was an incredible performance on Saturday. Outstanding. Bonus, well-deserved. I thought you might have got the 100 Gs, but unfortunately, the 2 title fights sent into the second round as well. But outstanding performance, man. I'm very happy for you, and looking forward to seeing what big name is going to be standing across from you next, man.
Hell yeah, man. It's awesome watching you do big things too, man. We're on the rise together still, bro. Let's keep going.
Just a huge, huge win for Brandon Royval. Another 50 Gs going in his bank account. Really excited to see what is next for him. I like the Joseph Benavidez idea. Jussier Formiga is a fun idea. I said on the post-fight show, and I said it during the interview as well, I love the Manel Kape fight idea. Royval versus Kape is ridiculous, but as Brandon stated, and I can confirm this as well, although it's not 100% done yet, the direction that the UFC is trying to go is booking a fight between Manel Kape and Askar Askarov sometime in November. The date not 100% set in stone yet, but that is the plan as of right now. We're We're very close. Date still up in the air, but looks like Cape versus Askarov is the fight that's going to happen at 125 pounds. It should happen at UFC 255 because why not? It's already a flyweight showcase, but that's the direction they want to go. But Royval gets anybody in the top 5 is just a ridiculous amount of fun. So congratulations to him. Casey Kenney returns to the octagon looking to build upon his first round submission win over Louis Smolka back in May. Takes on Haley Alatang this Saturday in Abu Dhabi. Here is my chat with Casey Kenney while he was in Las Vegas. I think the day before, he's getting ready to hop on a plane and fly to Fight Island. Here it is. All right, I got Casey Kenney back on the show, one of the positive voices in our great sport in a crazy year like this, and we need all the positivity we can get these days. He's off to Fight Island shortly, takes on Haley Alatang on October 3rd. Casey, good to see you, man. How are you?
Hey, nice to see you as well, but you hit it on the head there. You got to spread some positivity, right?
Absolutely. So you get to stamp a passport here. You get to be part of a unique circumstance, a unique environment. I'm sure you would rather avoid the travel and just fight in Vegas, but still you get to be a part of something memorable like this. This is pretty cool, is it not?
Yeah, exactly. Fighting in Vegas close by is always great, but to be part of history, part of Fight Island, you can't beat that. And, I'm excited. A flight is no big deal to me, so let's go make history.
Well, you're going to be in the lap of luxury almost in that plane with all the comfort and stuff. So you get to be nice and relaxed anyways for an 8,000-mile trip. Yeah,
exactly. It could be a worse flight.
Yeah. So you're coming off that great win against Louis Smolka, first finish in the UFC. It was a fun fight while it lasted. It was everything you kind of hoped it would be, but then you put him away just over 3 minutes into the fight. Did you feel like this is a statement win for you, that you opened up a lot of eyes with this one, that you put the bantamweight division on notice, especially coming off your first loss in a few years?
Yeah, obviously everybody's looking for the finish. It was my first finish in the UFC, and I felt like I just went out there and did exactly what I needed to do. Not that my first 2 wins in the UFC were easy and I was off or anything, but to put somebody away and to do it the way I did, almost a flawless victory. I think everyone started to realize, like, oh man, this kid is for real.
No bonus though. Like, getting the win obviously was the most important thing, but you don't see a lot of one-arm like guillotine chokes finishes in the first round these days. Were you a little bummed about that? Because I thought you were right up there as a favorite to get an extra 50 G's there.
Yeah, I thought I was going to get the 50 G's too. However, it is what it is. I'm looking to get the next one. But who doesn't want the 50 G's? So, yeah, like I said, it is what it is, but I definitely thought I was in the running.
Did they kick you a couple extra bucks though? Because I know the UFC likes to do that from time to time.
Yeah, I got the standard, but I was hoping for a little more, but I'll go make it next time.
There you go. So you're getting ready to head to Fight Island. You're in Vegas right now. You leave tomorrow. It's Thursday as we record this, to fight Haley Alatang. And I'm sure you were ready to go. You're the kind of guy that was ready if a fight came up in a week's notice or 3 days notice. You were ready to jump in there. You thrive on this chaos that we're in, but you had a little bit of extra prep time for this one. Are you happy with that, or do you wish you got a quick short notice fight like you had the last time?
I always like to get back in there and make it a short notice one, but there's times where it was good to have a camp again. I was a little bummed that it was so far away when I first was told, but hey, it's all right. I took the summer and the rest of the summer and kind of did my thing and got better. Made some improvements like I'm always trying to do. So, like I said, it is what it is. There wasn't much I could do about it. The only thing I can go do is knock this dude out and try to fight the weekend after as well.
Oh, look at you. That's a smart way to look at it. You're very advantageous, Casey.
So that's the goal. I'm not looking past Alatang at all, but there's a lot of bantamweights the following weekend. So why not stay on the island?
When did you find out about this fight? When was it offered to you?
It's probably been about 12 weeks now. Originally, it was going to be in Vegas September 19th, and that was when UFC 253 was still going to be there. a couple weeks after I got that call, they moved the fight to October 3rd. I believe Aleksa couldn't get a visa to the United States or something along those lines. So anyways, we got moved, and it wasn't a big deal for me, but now we go to Fight Island. Fight Island it is.
Is this the longest, I don't know if your training camp was 12 weeks. I mean, you're already working and staying in shape anyways, but is this the longest stretch of time between putting pen to paper and actually getting in the octagon since you've signed with the UFC?
It's pretty close. After I fought Bermudez, that was in August. I didn't fight Merab till February. So, and I was ready the whole time, it was kind of just the way things worked out, But actually the first thing I did when I got the call, it was going to be pushed 2 weeks back, and I had just started camp, is I took a little vacation. I went to visit some friends in California, and I had a long weekend there. I was like, I got an extra 2 weeks. 12 weeks is way too long. I need 10.
There you go. What did you do to sort of relax and just kind of put fighting behind you for a sec?
Have a few drinks, normal stuff, eat some good food, nothing too crazy, but I was trying to do a little bit more, but it was, kind of during the heat of the pandemic type thing. So everyone was, I didn't want to go travel too much.
Do you try to take some time throughout the year to do things like that and get away and at least try to get your mind off the fight game for, a day or two, maybe 3?
Oh yeah, I'm all about balance, man. After the fights, I'm out having a good time, eating what I want, still training, staying ready, but I'm enjoying this whole thing. Even the in between time, I love to fight, but I'm having a good time. Getting better. I'm living life, in between fights. So yeah, of course, all about balance.
So Haley's got experience, but you have more UFC experience, more octagon experience than he does. Because I was the UFC is a different animal, and you've been on big pay-per-view cards. You've done the short notice thing. You've even done the COVID era turnaround fights with no crowd. Does your UFC experience outweigh his overall experience?
I just think not only the experience in the UFC, but you kind of hit on the head. Just even before I was in the UFC, the level of competition that I had before I got to the UFC. I've been fighting UFC caliber guys for, I feel like, my last, 10 fights. So I think that's going to be, where the experience-wise, where I'm ahead, obviously he's got more fights than me. Not counting him out experience-wise, but as far as the level of competition, I don't think he's even comes close to, the level of competition that I've been across.
You were supposed to share this card with your teammate, the man with arguably the best hair in mixed martial arts, Kyler Phillips. And last check, Kyler was without opponent after Dana Batgarel was forced out of the fight. He had an injury, and I know the UFC was trying to get something going and keep him on the card, but is he traveling with you guys on October 3rd for the October 3rd fight?
Came out of Kyler's room actually, so I'm assuming they're gonna get somebody. I don't have a for sure name yet, but he's here, so I'm assuming they're planning on getting him somebody.
There you go. Outside of the experience itself, how do you like this matchup? Does this check because you like to get into exciting fights? You like to check off all those boxes for excitement. Does this one do that for you?
Yeah, for sure. I feel like Aleksa comes forward, tries to knock you out, and that makes for an exciting fight. The last couple guys, Smoko was one. He brought the fight to me, and I think if you bring the fight to me, it's going to be a short night for you. So I like those. I like those kind of fights, man. It's going to be exciting.
Do you like all this quarantining stuff? Because you get the hookup with your own training rooms, and I'm sure Abu Dhabi is going to be similar, but you strike me as a guy that kind of likes this stuff. You get to sort of march to the beat of your own drum. You're not on any kind of a schedule. You don't have to sign in a time for you to go train. You can just do whatever you want essentially in your own space. Do you enjoy this part of, even though it's chaotic, do you like this?
Yeah, I feel like obviously being in the room by myself was a little bit different yesterday, but I feel like fight week's a big quarantine anyways. You may get out once or twice during the day, but most of the time it's sitting around the hotel room waiting to do something, and I still got to experience this one. This one's going to be a good one, with the Abu Dhabi quarantine and everything. But, the Vegas one, it felt pretty similar, other than, the testing and stuff like that. Wasn't much different than a normal fight week. Maybe not walking down to the lobby with, all the other guests and stuff in it. But, I like it. I like fight week. I get to sit back, relax, hang out with close friends, close coaches, and just try to enjoy, whatever they put in front of me.
I mean, the Vegas quarantine can, I guess, be kind of tough. And now you look out and it's all lit up. I don't even know where you guys are at out there. But Abu Dhabi, they tease you with these rooms and you're overlooking the beach. And you're just like, man, I'd love to get out there and jump in the water or sit on the beach. Is it going to be a little tougher for you, or are you just going to have to shut the shades and try not to let it distract you?
Yeah, that was my biggest thing is I'm all the way over there in Abu Dhabi. Dubai's close by. Can I leave Yas Island, please? Can I just go out and explore, even after the fight? And, it looks like I'll need to make a trip back there at some point. So, that part was, I was, wishful thinking when I first found out about this, that I'd actually be able to get off Yas Island. But, I got the little info packet about Yas Island, and it seems like they got a pretty cool little setup there. So I'm excited to see what they got for us.
How do you get this thing done, Casey? Looking to make it 2 straight? I know you want the bonus, so maybe 2 straight finishes spread over 8,000 miles. Yep. How do you get this thing done?
Man, if I don't put them away on the feet, I think I can get it done on the ground too. First, second, third round doesn't matter. I'm in shape. I'm ready to go a full fight. But if he goes away early, great. If he wants to make it a dog fight, I'm going to try to put him away late too. And
you want to stick around. We want to do this thing. Maybe get you 2, 3, 4 fights.
Just do it away and sign up for the weekend after. That's my goal.
I love it, man. See, the positivity. We needed this. We needed the smiles, we need the positivity, we need all this great stuff, Casey. I appreciate the time as always, man. All the best to you. Safe travels to Abu Dhabi, and looking forward to seeing this fight, man.
Hey, thank you very much. Appreciate your time as well, and I'm sure we'll talk soon.
Good stuff right there. And can you imagine if Casey Kenney gets his wish, right? Legends can be made on Fight Island. Look at Khamzat Chimaev. So if Casey Kenney does what he wants to do, if he gets in the octagon on Saturday, gets a quick finish, and then turns right around and goes again next Saturday and gets another finish, that'd be huge. Absolutely massive. That'd be something else. But he needs to get past Haley Alatang first, and that should be a hell of a bantamweight scrap on Fight Island. About 2 fights after that bantamweight fight, Jordan Williams will make his UFC debut against fellow newcomer Nasruddin Imanov in a middleweight bout. Jordan makes his What the Heck debut right now. All right, what a couple of weeks it has been for Jordan Williams, who got on the Contender Series once again, got a huge finish and a headline spot over Gregory Rodriguez, and now already has his octagon debut set for October 3rd on Fight Island against Nasruddin Imanov. Jordan, good to see you, man. How are you?
Hey, Mike, I'm doing great, man. Like you said, it's been a couple of crazy weeks, but, it's been a good crazy in this type of aspect.
Absolutely. Congratulations, obviously, on getting the contract. 3rd time was certainly the charm. You arguably, and I've said this to you before, you should have gotten contracts in your previous 2 appearances. This finished a couple of weeks ago. This was a universal no-brainer once you got it. How did it all feel in that moment, knowing that it was pretty much a certainty you were getting a contract? You just need to wait another 15 minutes or so for Dana to make it official.
I mean, well, it was like an explosion. That's how my feelings were. Just like a big bomb just went off in every part, like my mind, my heart, everywhere. But, to be honest with you, man, Dana, he's a hard cat to impress, man. I didn't know. I was doing the praying hands, backstage, because we've seen him do like a development deal, or no, it was like he sent someone to the tough house after a heavyweight, after he got a spinning back fist knockout. So you never know, that was an impressive knockout to me, but he said, let's put some more work with you. But, I finally, once he was doing that conversation where he said he respected me, as soon as he said, hey, I respect this kid, I was like, I knew. But then I was starting to ease into the situation.
Yeah, it was Josh Parisian. I remember that. And then 'cause I think it was like his 4th or 5th fight, so they just wanted to make sure he was good to go.
Oh, like ready. Yeah.
But you've been there. That was your 3rd time there. I mean, you got a finish in the first fight. Second one was just this all-out battle that I thought you won. And even in a loss, you still should have gotten a contract. I was just like, welcome to the UFC. This is a done deal. But you just never know, right?
Yeah, you never know that, and that's the fight game, you know. So it just gets you ready because now I have that much more of a heart and a drive and the fire to make sure I finish my opponent or just leave it all out there.
When did you know about the Contender Series fight? Because it seemed like it came together really quickly because Gregory was supposed to fight Nasruddin on that same card, and then you got slotted in. It's all coming full circle for you. But when did you know about this fight?
Well, I didn't. I was supposed to fight Jordan Wright August 11th, and then I broke my knee 3 weeks before that fight. Like, apparently you can do that. I broke my patella, and they were worried, and it was a avulsion fracture. A piece of the tendon, or my tendon detached from my patella, and it took a piece of bone with it. So we were in limbo. I was supposed, and then I was supposed to fight Jordan Wright October 6th, and then they pulled him up to the UFC once they pulled instead of me. But then I realized why. It was because it was at 205. I'm not a proper 205 guy. You know, I can't weigh that much. And then so I was in. So for 2 weeks, I was like in limbo. My manager said, "Hey, we're gonna try and find you a fight. Stay ready." And then 2 weeks later, they said, "Hey, Gregory Rodriguez, 13-day notice." So it was on the 2nd of September that I found out, and I just jumped in and said, "Yeah, let's do it."
So how long did it take to heal up the knee? Because it seems like just describing it seems a lot more painful and it would take a lot more time than obviously it took for you because you're supposed to fight in August and then you end up turning back in September. How long did it take for you to get cleared and get ready to fight?
It was about like 3 to 4, or it was like 4 to 5 weeks before it was kind of. It was at like a doable range. When I went into the Gregory Rodriguez fight, I'd say my knee is about 85%, at that point, because I just did a workout last week and we were carrying a buddy partner carry. And then after I was like, yo, I gotta stop. My knee was starting to get a little aggravated. So it's not 100% yet, but we're working and we're getting there. But it did heal obviously quick enough to do the job on the 15th.
So if it was 85% for that fight, we at like 90, 95% now, or still around the 85 range?
I think we're if I wouldn't have felt last week that pressure in my knee, I would have said we're at like 95%, but I'd say we're like 85, 90. We're still probably getting a little bit better. Like again, it's gonna be totally fine to take on Nasruddin.
So we had spoken in the beginning of March. It was before you were supposed to fight Kyle Stewart, and it was pretty noticeable that you had lost a good amount of weight. You were on fire in that conversation. It was one of the ones that stuck out to me. And you were pondering a move to 170 pounds. You weighed in for the Contender Series fight at 181, which to me, after that conversation, that didn't surprise me at all. But you took to social media a couple of days after the fight, and you said that weighing in below that number was kind of a bit of gamesmanship on your end. Is that true?
Yes. I weigh like 190, 195 right now. So, but when you get closer to the fight, what I said before, it was like exactly, it was gamesmanship, because I didn't lie. I don't like to cut weight, and that's true because I like to manage it. I'm a professional, like if you're 10, 15 pounds over the day before weigh-ins, like, can you really call yourself a professional across the board? It's like, you're not going to compete like a professional. So I like to manage my weight. I've learned how to cut weight, and like throughout the years, to the point where it's not really cutting anymore. So that was totally a move on my end, because let's say the day I flew into Vegas, I weighed 189 on the they made me weigh in and check in, and that becomes like 189 to 188 becomes like my walking weight, like kind of like before like weigh-ins. And sometimes I'll weigh in at 185 in the morning of weigh-ins. So what I did was I weighed at 188 and 189 the day of, and then that was Sunday. Monday I'm cutting weight. I do a 1 mile run, easy 1 mile with the sauna suit. I jumped in the sauna for like 20 minutes, and then I weighed 182 on the scale. I was like, oh, I cut a little bit too much weight. And so I thought to myself at that point, it wasn't even a plan at first to do what I did. And then so I thought to myself, like, oh, I could weigh in like this. So I drank like 4 pounds of water or fluids, or I ate. I got my body weight back up to 186. I went to bed, woke up on the day of weigh-ins at 185. Or excuse me, 185. So I did the same thing. I ran 1 mile, sat in the sauna for 25 minutes, and I weighed 180. So then I sipped on a pound of water until weigh-ins. The people see me weighing at 181, and then within an hour later, I was like back up to 188. So it was like, and the reason why I did that is because the whole world and Gregory, most importantly, thought that I was going to be weighing 181 sopping wet when I come to that fight, and he had about 10 to 15 pounds of extra man to deal with that he wasn't expecting.
My immediate thought was, oh man, he really is going down to 170. Like,
yeah.
Is that still I mean, you got things to worry about. You're not even thinking about that right now, but is that something that you're still pondering at this point, or are you're good with 85 now?
I mean, I said in one of my posts, or in my post-fight interview, that if Dana wants me to go in the 170s, I would. But honestly, it's like I don't want to. I think I got the 185ers number down. And I've been touched so much, like Ramazan, like he hit my face so many times that I was like ugly, like the waitress on the stewardess on the plane, she was like, she walked past me, she's like, oh sweetie, like, do you want a drink? We'll get you a drink. You're like, well, hey, he needs a drink, a double. I was like, yo, I look ugly right now. People are offering me free drinks. Like, dang. But the point I'm making is I didn't get rocked once. You know what I'm saying? And Gregory Rodriguez, we all saw how big of a monster, potentially roiding out monster. I don't know how he's going to pass that drug test. But, man, I mean, and if that's all natural, Rodriguez, Gregory, kudos to you, man. I could never get like that, But I just took him out, knocked him out in the first round, and I took his best punch, which was his straight right. I took it like 5-6 times. I just still walked him down, didn't do anything to me. So I really feel, and the only time I've been knocked out was against Dwight Grant, and that was at 170. Mind you, that fight I did have a popped blood vessel in my eye. I had my face just cleared. Like the last sparring session of that training camp, I was sparring with Fluffy Hernandez on a different UFC fighter, and we were going a little hard, and exchanging, and he just got me in the eye, then my eye just went, and then I blew my nose, and then went, and then I had a black eye for a couple of days, and then I finally cleared up before I faced Dwight Grant. Then I go into Dwight Grant, cutting weight with a popped blood vessel in my head, and then I get knocked out. So I think 185 is working out real well, and my knockout rate is not too bad either, 5 out of 6 opponents. So, I think going against the bigger guys is a smart move, because I'm not cutting weight. I'm managing it, as I said, but these guys are obviously cutting weight. And Gregory has a great chin. I mean, he got dropped one time before, but he's a strong dude. And but that night of the fight, he had a weight cut chin. So, if I'm going to be fighting these bigger guys, and the bigger they are, the more of a problem I know they're going to have to deal with that weight cut during the actual fight. Even if they make weight, that weight cut's still a problem for them.
Yeah, and you got a crazy quickness advantage too, which you could see in the Rodriguez fight.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that was a plan. That was a plan, to use my quickness and the forward pressure, get him tired. Because even when he was landing those big shots, I just had to still. He was taller, so I had to still press forward, get inside, and I was gonna have to take a little damage to get close. And so I just had to use my quickness and my gas can to set up, what my third weapon, which is my power in my left hand.
It's been a crazy year for you. You had 2 fights booked in March, and they both fell out due to injury and then to COVID. And after that, I know you were having a hard time finding fights, but At some point, maybe like in April or so, were you getting worried that a fight may not happen for you until like way later because of all the craziness going on? Obviously, the door opened, you sprinted through it, but were you starting to get worried?
Oh yeah, and that's why I sprinted through that door, as you say. My managers had to search far and wide, which they did. People were dropping out. They had to beg Mitch, the 185 weight manager, what do you call it? The matchmaker, to beg us back on Contender Series, and a lot of it was because, like you said, like, dude, it's getting close to April. We can't find this guy a fight. You know, Dana put that golden star on me that says like, this guy deserves to be in UFC. I had an 8-3 record. It's not the prettiest, you know, but people still they listened to Dana more than my record. So it was really hard. I was getting really worried, and so that's why I did a 100-meter dash through that bitch.
And then just like that, the UFC turns you right around. You're off to Abu Dhabi. We're recording this on Thursday, so you're heading off there tomorrow, and you get to do some world traveling for your Octagon debut. How excited are you to get over there and be a part of something unique like this for your first fight in the UFC?
This excitement is a two-parter because it's Abu Dhabi, it's Fight Island, and what more could you ask for besides fighting? Like, UFC Fight Island is bigger than UFC right now because of the magnitude, because of what it it's making a live stance and live entertainment during this pandemic, you know, and so that's obviously exciting. But, you know, dude, I've been chasing the hot girl at school called UFC for over 2 years now. You know what I'm saying? And this girl, the only 2 times I was able to stop her in the hallway, she rejects me. One via like Dana White, you know, she rejects me in Dana White's voice, saying I ain't good enough. And then, you know, she rejects me the second time by letting her friends, aka the judges, say, hey, he lost. Get rid of this guy. So. So whatever the reason was, the UFC is like the hottest girl in school. She's been rejecting me, and then the third time I stop her in the hallway, not only does she acknowledge me, but now we're going on dates. She's like doing like touching me. I'm like, oh my god, like way too fast. You know, the guy who's chasing the girl is all of a sudden turning around and saying, this is way too fast, so soon. But then it's just like, nah, you catch yourself like, this is exactly what I wanted. This is like, now they're giving me a chance. I'm just excited to have such a quick chance to prove to them that I actually belong in here.
How long after you got the Contender Series win and the contract did you find out about this fight?
Okay, so that night after during my post-fight interview, they asked me, like, hey, so what do you want to do? What do you want to do with this new road, this new career that you have with UFC now? Like, when do you envision yourself fighting? How many fights do you plan on getting a year? And they asked the same question to Danielle Wolf, and she said, she totally averted the question, didn't answer. She's like, hey, I just want to get back to the gym. I want to get back to the drawing board, work on what I need to work, talk to my coaches, advise a new game plan, and just like get back to work. And like, so, okay, so you're not going to tell them when you want to fight. And then me, when I go up there, I was like, hey man, like the doctors gave me like a 4-day layoff of training, but that I have enough time. I heard Abu Dhabi is going on for 4 weeks. I would love, you know, to go out there. You know, I was like, and of course I threw in some wit and was like, you know, look how pretty I am. You know, I was like, look how pretty I am right now. Like, you know, I don't plan on this changing. You know, I could fight right now. And then so I think that little bit of flair at the end, they're like, within 12 hours, dude, I was not even home yet. I'm driving. I almost crashed. I get a text from my manager. He's just like, do you want to fight October 3rd? I'm like, doing the math, like, that's Abu Dhabi. He's like, yes. I was like, no effing way. I just asked for that like less than 12 hours ago, and now they're giving it to me. Like what? Like, so it like, I found out before I even got home.
That's crazy, man. William Knight was telling me the same thing. That's how he found out about his debut coming up on Saturday. Mm-hmm. He didn't even land in the plane. When he got home, when he landed, he turned his phone on and already had the fight offered, and it was the exact fight he wanted too. So it's crazy how these things come full circle. Do you know much about Nasruddin? Like, I mean, he's got 5 wins in a row, 4 finishes during that streak. How familiar are you with him heading into this fight?
One of those finishes happens to be a knee to the body. So, I mean, and I watched that fight. It was like the lightest, smallest knee. I don't know who he was facing. He's got like a Camur finish, a ground and pound finish, a rear naked finish. So to me, it seems like, and from the video I watched, he is a good striker. He's got he's got a quick straight right, and he's got a good counter lead hook. And like I said, in the clinch, he got that clinch knee finish. So I feel like his striking is there, but he gets the finish on the ground. And it's like, good luck. We just watched a Brazilian guy, like way bigger than you, Nasruddin, try to take me down, didn't get me down, shot me with his biggest punch. Pretty sure it's bigger than yours. Didn't do nothing. And that's why I feel real confident going to this fight, because he's not going to be able to get it to the ground. That's where he finishes his job. And you know what? I got a stronger chin than Rodriguez. I got some confidence, the momentum going down, and I just feel this is a great matchup. This is a good matchup. It's a good matchup for both people, because he likes to go backwards in his fights. He likes to circle a lot of movement, and I just like to go forward. So it's kind of like who executes their game plan better, which I have the confidence in my skills to do so. And that's pretty much what I know about Nasruddin. And the fact that he bitched out of fighting Rodriguez for whatever reason, injury, complications with camp, whatever. He pulled out, and I went in, and I went and did your job for you. So now you got to face me. And like that's what like, come on now. That I'm riding off my confidence, the momentum, and the fact that he was a little, not strong man to continue on with the fight.
I mean, look at you. You got the girl now, and that comes with a little bit of swagger.
What can you say, man? I mean, the girl's gonna have to pick someone with some swagger.
Yeah, I mean, that swagger. I mean, between swagger and Fight Island, we've seen some new stars emerge. Look at Khamzat Chimaev. I mean, this guy went on Fight Island as an 85, went up to 85, got a quick finish, turned around real fast, and now look at him. He's getting ready to have a main event in his third UFC fight. Like, what have you made of kind of his surge lately? Because you're the new guy on the block. That's got to give you some extra confidence, knowing that you just need a couple of wins and say the right things, and boom, off to the races you can go.
Yeah, it's expiring. It's expiring, and I'm gonna go into that race like the lightest, fastest jockey in there, man. It's gonna, it's just inspiring. Watch him, and then he's at 185, so it's like I could probably face him. So it's fun. It's fun to think and compare with yourself at a level that I was never able to do before. I mean, obviously you do, and you play with that imagination, and you tell yourself that, and that's how I got to this point. But now it's like I'm actually here, and the comparisons are a lot more realistic.
A lot of people are familiar with your story, with your battle with type 1 diabetes, and you've gone through a lot of different things to try and get ahead of it as much as you can. I know it's impossible to stop it, but you're trying to find different ways. And not only did you get a win on the Contender Series and a contract, and I get your first UFC fight booked, but I know you recently did an interview with the fellow New Englander Joe McDonough, and you revealed that you got yourself a tremendous donation from a doctor. For those who don't know, what happened and how big is this for you?
This is the biggest moment of my career. It's just as big as getting that UFC contract, because I was telling Joe, every doctor I've met, they either directly tell me I shouldn't do it, or they indirectly tell me by saying, oh, well, you bleed easy and you're going to get tired sooner because you're like the complications with your blood and the blood flow and everything, I will just reconsider what you want to do with your life. And to that point, I fought through all those naysayers, professional, medically advised naysayers, to a point where one who specializes in diabetes, he is an endocrinologist, he mainly does diabetes. So all those other doctors are family medicine practitioners, just the general run of the mill doctor. This is a specific, mainly case by case with diabetes type of doctor. He reached out, he's like, dude, first of all, I'm so proud of you. And he reached out to me after my last Contender Series fight, but I forgot to respond back to him. And he said something about hey, I got let's maybe talk about getting insulin out to you. So I really this offer was here before the win. He reached out to me again, And I saw the message like, oh, this is the guy who was trying to offer me insulin. I was like, hey man, like, yeah. And we connected the dots. And he's like, dude, I would love to send you insulin. I'm about to send you a 3 months worth supplies, Humalog and Tracebo. And just let you know, these are the medicines I was never able to afford. Like, not since I was like 22 or 21 when I got off my parents' health insurance. I was never able to afford those same medicines again, which is why I went to Walmart. It's human insulin. Not dog insulin, human insulin, but people with a dog who has diabetes can use this same insulin because of the, basically because of the quality and the strength, So now I fought through the point to where being a fighter is actually healthier for me. And now I'm getting the top of the line insulin for free. And this guy and my man Craig Perlman, he offered me like, hey man, just let you know when this 3 month supplies runs out, I already got another 3 months set up for you. And if you ever run out, just ask. And I'm like, my heart's pounding. Like, I'm like getting goosebumps from hearing him say this. I'm like you have no idea what this means to me and everyone else who I'm going to tell this story. I was like, thank you so much for being a sponsor. He's like, sponsor? I just want to help, man. You don't got to do anything for me. I just love seeing your mentality and how you're tackling this diabetes thing. All the people I have as clients or patients, they all, when I say diabetic, they're like, excuse me, I'm a person with diabetes. And they kind of run away with that title. Me, and he's like, and you, like your whole thing is like, I'm a diabetic. I don't care. I'm going to go in here. I'm going to do my job. And he's like, I love the strength you have in being open with your situation and not running from it. And like, those are really kind words as well. And it kind of really made me think of like, I do that, don't I? So that was one of the biggest moments of my life, because for the past 10 years of it, I've been hearing the exact opposite.
I mean, even with all the success you've had, this must be such a weight lifted off your shoulders. Like, what a sigh of relief this must be for you, right?
Oh yes, it's a sigh of relief for me, my fiance, the other person who's constantly making me say, hey, you checking your blood sugars? You need to do this. Like, hey, like when I forget, it's like late at night, she's the one who's like, hey, what's your blood sugar? I'm like, oh shoot, yeah, let me go check it. Like, so it's a big relief for me, my fiance, my mom, like everyone. And like, they're just so happy for me. And it's finally coming full circle, like you said earlier.
So how do we keep this momentum moving forward on October 3rd, Jordan, against a game opponent, fellow newcomer in Nasruddin Imanov? How do you get this done on Fight Island?
I'm going to pressure him in his face. I'm getting that knockout in round one or three, I feel like. That's what I want. I want to get that knockout, performance of the night check. Or, I'll if that doesn't happen in round one, I'll be just fine with the performance of the night, double bonus, and a fight of the night for knocking them out in the third. That's how I see it. That's how I want it to play out, and I'm aligning my mentality for those stars to line up just like that. And I'm gonna pressure him. He's gonna have his UFC jitters. I don't even know if I had mine. The first fight at Contender Series, because now Contender Series is literally exactly like UFC fights. There's no crowd, and I just want to let you know that whether there's a crowd there or not, you still get those jitters. You're in UFC. There's Bruce Buffer right there. There's Dana White over there. You're nervous. I don't care who you are. If for your first time in there, and now at a point where your emotions and those UFC jitters are at the loudest points in your head and your mind, you don't have the crowd to silence them. Some people use that crowd to silence, like, oh yeah, these people are cheering my name. Okay, yeah, I could do this. Or like, oh, this is a big moment, and they're thinking about the crowd instead of they're like, oh, I'm jittery. Like, nah, he ain't gonna have that. Well, has he ever even fought in a crowdless arena? This will be my fourth time doing it. So I'm confident. I'm confident that if I keep that forward pressure, all those fears and jitters that he's gonna have are gonna just be a stronger voice if I just play off him.
Are you gonna go for the Buffer fist bump?
I mean, thanks for reminding me. I'm gonna try to do something more creative. Okay. There's something.
Now I have to be watching for it.
But at that point, all right. I might have. I don't think I'll have jitters, but I will be like, oh, it's Bruce Buffer. And I might like get like froze, like, and forget the cool thing I'm gonna do different than the fist bump. But you know, if it ends up being a fist bump, whatever. I got to meet Bruce Buffer, and he's finally gonna announce, like, do the announcement of the pre-announcement for my fight, which is a dream that's been in everyone's mind. You know, Joe Rogan's not gonna be there, I don't think, but you know, Anik and Paul Fieldman or Felder, yeah, he's gonna be there. Both great commentators. I forget the third party, but you know, it's gonna be great. You know, it's gonna be good. To just finally, you know, just be at that stage, man. And because I was at that stage the last 3 fights, but not really. So now I'm there, and it just feels good. I'm gonna use this good feeling and see how me get that KO knockout victory come October 3rd.
Like we discussed, and last thing for me before I let you go, you know, 2020 has just been just such a chaotic year between COVID and, you know, there's just so much divisiveness around the country. It's even found its way into our sport more recently because of Colby and some of the comments he made. What did you think of that? Because I know you haven't officially made that walk yet. You're about to, but you know, what have you made of this divisiveness getting more and more prevalent in the sport and some of the things that have been said? Because it's gotten past the line here where it's a little uncomfortable.
It's only making my fire bigger, man. My dad is a full African American. I'm half black. My other half is split between Filipino, German, and a couple of mixes. So the Black Lives Matters movement is a big deal for me. And I've witnessed how my dad has been treated as a black man and how I've been treated as a black man, as just even a biracial or a mixed racial man. And it only brings fire to me. Fire so hard sometimes. Like, I just can't help but tear up and water up. It's just like, I'm fighting for my people. I'm fighting for me. I'm fighting for my dad. You know, I'm trying to just make his life better, my life better. And, you know, it's just like, just to hear people like that don't even, acknowledge or know the privilege that they've had, or just reject that. They don't like to hear that they've had an easier life. Well, so, dude, Colby, you did. You had a fucking easy life compared to us. I don't care what you say, what you think, you know, and that's why, I mean, you know, that's why a lot of us are fighters and athletes and stuff, because that's our only ticket out of our hellhole. So it's only bringing fire. It's only bringing fire to me right now to shut everyone up, and also, you know, or just shut everyone up so that they can listen to the injustice that's being done right now, and actually listen to that white silence, or any silence. It's not white people. It could be Asian people who are rejecting it. Anything like, you know, I just want the silence to stop, and I'm so happy that people are speaking up. And you know, I still, like, you know, you talk about Breonna Taylor, what happened to her, George Floyd. It's not an easy conversation for me to talk about, you know, and I get really, you know, I watched Angela Hill talk about it in one of her pre-fight interviews, and it was so touching, and how she attacked the situation and how punctual and just she was with her words, not late with any thought. And it just really motivated me to try to be to do a similar representation of my people on that platform.
Just a hell of a story that man has. Jordan Williams, finally in the UFC, 3 shots on the Contender Series. Arguably, bless you. My son just sneezed. Arguably should have gotten signed after all 3 of his Contender Series appearances, but listen, he's there now, chugged away, made it happen. And now he debuts in the Octagon this Saturday as we get ready to wrap things up here on What the Heck. We do have one more guest, another big winner from Saturday night at UFC 253. We will get to that momentarily to close out episode number 27 of What the Heck. So thank you all for watching and listening. Make sure you subscribe wherever you partake to the program, and also check out the rest of our great content. A-side, on to the next one, between the links. We got preview and post shows, weigh-in shows, all that good stuff. And some more things are in the works as well, so get ready for that. Our man Jose Young's in Abu Dhabi for all of your weigh-in and scrum coverage, so be on the lookout for that. Like I said, thanks to all of you guys. Big thank you to Casey Lyde on the production. Once again, Esther Lynn, the legend, on the graphics and all the cool stuff she does behind the scenes. And in the meantime, we're going to wrap up the show with my chat with William the Nightmare Knight, following his win over Aleksa Camur at UFC 253. Here it is, and as always, have a heck of a week, everybody. And William Knight is back on the show, this time with his first UFC victory under his belt, picking up a unanimous decision win over Aleksa Camur this past weekend at UFC 253. Also, some battle scars. Look at that eye, William. How are you, man?
I'm good. It's pretty cool. I like this. I like how it looks.
Yes. So I have to tell you, because, you know, we discussed this fight a little bit on our preview show, and I said, essentially, I don't know who's going to win, but rest assured, William is going to be in trouble at some point in this fight, because that's how it goes with all of your fights. But compared to like some of your past appearances, yeah, there was a tricky spot when he had your back, but this wasn't as bad for you as some of those past ones, was it?
Nah, I gave my backup for that split moment so I can get the fight onto where I wanted it to. So when I gave my backup, I already knew that the lock, there was nothing to hold. Usually a person would figure for my body, but I have such a wide frame, it's hard to figure for. So when I gave my neck, I'm like, I'm not in no danger. I already have one of the arms. Like, I got this. I got this. I've been here before, worse, with Jamil and these bigger guys. I'm like, I got this, trust me. Like, I wouldn't put myself in a situation I haven't been getting out of or would have trouble getting out of.
I'm sitting there watching it and I'm like, I don't think easy is the right word, because easy's not, I mean, it's just the wrong word, because Aleksa's a tough customer. But because you weren't in much danger for this fight, was it in a way like almost a breath of fresh air more than anything? Is it safe to say that this fight went smoother than the others have been in the past?
All my fights go smooth, man. Like, I'm a child of abuse. So when you think about hitting, when I'm getting hit, like, it doesn't bother me that I get hit. I grew up being abused by, like, as a child, and I'm not saying by my grandmother, because it was never her, or when I lived with her. She saved me. But I was in foster care, and I had a stepdad and shit like that. I was bullied in school. I was hit. I was punched, kicked, burned with cigarettes from my foster parents, shit like that. Like, you got to think about what pain is. I have a very high tolerance for pain, and I have a very high tolerance to withstand punishment. So it's like, why do people say I'm in danger, but when Justin Gaethje's fighting and getting slammed on, he keeps coming forward and fucking shit up, and he's looked at as a savage, like he's a beast. He got a chin on him. I do too. I got a chin on me. I can withstand punishment. I could put myself in dangerous positions and get out. Like, I wouldn't put myself in a situation where I knew that I couldn't get out of. Like, wrestling teaches you ring awareness, mat awareness, body awareness. Like, wrestling is iconic for any person to step in that cage. Like, my style is wrestling and Muay Thai. Jiu-jitsu comes second, and then like boxing and brawling comes second nature. But Muay Thai is first and wrestling is first. So, like, I love it. I love it, man. All the fights I've ever been in, I win. I get my hand raised. Like, I get my hand raised. One amateur fight went to decision that I feel like I won. And then my first professional loss was an early stoppage. Like, those were not deemed as anything like severe. Like, yo, you've been knocked the fuck out, or you've been choked the fuck out. One was by judges that they feel I lost, and the other one was an early stoppage by a ref who thought I was in danger. Me in danger. The guy who loves danger.
When we talked before the fight, you discussed having sort of a chip on your shoulder heading in, because you felt that when Aleksa was doing his pre-fight stuff for the Contender Series, he looked in the camera, talked about the 205-pound division, and in a weird way, you thought he was speaking down towards you a bit. It seems to be like the New England MMA way to find those chips. Like, Calvin Kattar talks about finding chips wherever he can find them all the time. Is that something that you typically do, or is this something that you're going to do moving forward now that you had one with Aleksa? Because I don't remember, like, with the Cody fight, you really needing a chip. You just, ready to take that next step.
I was pissed off after hearing his interview saying that he was going to be too much for me, and he felt that he had everything that he needs. His wrestling's better than mine, the whole nine. And I sit here like, Meanwhile, in my interviews, I'm showing you respect, and you're here sitting here trying to say otherwise. And I'm like, nah, bro. Like in that warm-up room, if seeing that pre-fight stuff, I was getting pissed. I was like, yo, nah, I'm gonna murder this dude when I get out there. Like, yo, I try to stay away from social media so I don't have to hear this shit. But right before I walk out, I hear him talking like that, saying that he has the advantage, his striking, wherever it goes, he feels he has the upper hand. Everyone has the upper hand till you step in there with me. My strength is unheard of. Like, I have strength, power, speed. Like, I have it all when I'm ready to display it. There's one little thing I haven't unlocked yet is, like, the confidence in my striking. I know my striking can kill people, like, but I just need to get to that confident area where I'm like, all right, I could throw and destroy people. Because trust me when I tell you, my coach is telling me, yo, when you find that happy place so you can display more striking and stop being so nice and stop worrying about hurting people in the cage, you're going to be dangerous. He stresses it every fight. He stresses it. And I sit here and I'm like, yeah, but this is a kid. He's younger than me. He has a family to feed. I need him to live to fight another day. And then he tells me, he's like, they don't think that about you. They're in there to destroy you. But that little nice version of me is still in there. Like Hulk, when he goes into his mode, and then Scarlett Johansson is like telling him about the sun, wherever, calming him down. I have that calm in me. If that calm ever goes away, trust me, I'm going to be a very violent monster. I'm going to be destroying people. Like Rampage, man, that big old Rampage, like, rah!
How close are we to that point? Because, I mean, it doesn't seem like you need it right now. I mean, one moment that stood out in the fight that, like, everybody talked about was he got a takedown on you, and then you put him in, like, a side headlock, and then you completely turned him over. Like old school professional wrestling in a way. It's like you see, like, at the beginning of a match when there's some chain wrestling, you just completely grunt overpowered him and flipped him on his back, and the fight never was the same again. That was just crazy. How close do you think you are from unleashing that actual ferocious nightmare upon these fighters?
If you've seen at the end of the first round, there's one thing when I threw the double kick, I threw a kick and then I jumped and kick and he blocked it, but he smiled. Then you see in the end of the round where I start going in with the combination, like it was a jab, hook, uppercut, hook. I started going in just for the end, and then I stood there and stared at him, and he was like, good round. It triggered then because I thought he was like mocking me when he smiled. And then my coach was like, no, he smiled because you heard him. I was like, oh.
That's what that's like.
Yeah, I was like, I thought he was smiling at me because I didn't hurt him. He was like, nah, a lot of guys will smile when they're hurt to act like it's a poker face, but they're hurt. I was like, oh, all right. He's like, just do what you did that end of that round and you'll be fine. I was like, all right.
So that must have made you feel good then, right?
Yeah, I got poked in the eye, and that's what changed it changed the whole momentum of the fight. For 2 rounds, I couldn't see out my left eye. But I wasn't going to tell nobody that because I wanted to keep fighting.
Did anything surprise you in the fight from Aleksa, or did this go the way you expected it to go from the jump?
So, surprisingly, his output, that surprised me. His output wasn't there like it was for past fights from what I heard. And it was like his output. I was expecting some spinning kicks, tricky shit, flying knees, just crazy shit from what my coach was telling me because I don't look up my opponents and overhands to takedowns, and none of that happened. I don't know what happened or what triggered in the fight, but you know I like dog fights. You can hit me with everything in the kitchen sink. I'm gonna keep coming forward.
This fight game, especially with what your last couple of months have been like, it comes with a lot of sacrifices. You're missing events. One of the things you talked about was like around right after the Contender Series fight, you're flying home, getting ready to hit some family gatherings and some cookouts. And then this fight comes along, you're missing birthdays, etc. Like, it must feel so good for you to be home and take somewhat of a load off after all this time, just going from one fight to a fight camp into another fight and traveling around the world.
Can't use that word fight camp when it comes to William Knight, man. I've been training the past 4 years consistently. No camp, no fight announced, no fight that I know of coming up. I'm still training. So what happened was, actually, I came back home now, and I'm still on my diet and grinding because I actually hope I get this November 28th fight. If that happens, then we'll be straight. But if it doesn't, then whatever. I'll just be ready for whenever they call. There's also a December card, so.
So you're already back at the gym? No rose smelling whatsoever, just right back after it?
Nah, man, not back at the gym because, I got to wait for this COVID test to clear me.
That's right.
But I've been running and shit and chilling and shadow boxing and just letting everything settle in. But trust me, my mind is still training. Trust me.
You like to eat those foods after these fights, though? Are we staying away from all the fun stuff that is so dangerous to us all?
I mean, in the light of things, I mean, I try to do everything by the book. I try to follow through everything and make sure everybody's safe and sound, because at the end of the day, I can't be a selfish fighter and ruin everybody else's chances.
That's a good way to look at it. How did you enjoy the Fight Island experience? And then on top of that, just being part of this card with Adesanya, seeing a new champion in your division crowned in Jan Blachowicz. What was that whole experience like for you?
That experience was crazy, man. Like, I was in first class with Izzy and Dominic Reyes and Diego Sanchez and Hakeem. And I forgot that girl's name. She fought, but she lost by a decision.
Sajara Eubanks?
Yeah, Eubanks. I was in first class with them, and like two of Izzy's teammates that fought on that card. So I'm sitting there with these high-end guys, and I'm sitting here like, wow, this is crazy. I'm like, Izzy's right there, Dominic's right there, like Diego Sanchez right there, Eubanks is right next to me. You got me and Hakeem next to me, and I got Izzy's teammate in front of me. I'm like, yo, this is crazy. Everywhere I look is raw talent, like high-level guys, and I'm sitting here like, I'm making my UFC debut. I was sitting here quiet like a mouse, and then you got dudes like Izzy and stuff saying, yo, you might be the biggest and scariest dude on the card. Like, I ain't trying to wake you up. Like, they're joking around, having fun. Like, that jump was crazy.
Man, so that must have been really cool. Because, I mean, you're the new kid on the block. It's, it's a little overwhelming at times being around these guys. But once you started loosening up a little bit and they started talking to you, it must have been the best flight ever.
Man, I look at everybody as equal. So when I seen them, I dapped them up. The second I seen them, I pressed the guys. I'm like, gave Dominic Reyes dab. I gave these guys dab. What up? How you doing? What's good? Like, and then after my fight, they were like, yo, you did amazing at your fight, yo. Like, people be sleeping because you big, you got endurance. Like, don't got endurance. I got little dudes like fighting at 125, 135, 155 telling me I got more endurance than them. Like, that shit's rewarding. They're like, yo, you got more endurance than me, man. I thought you were going to gas after the first round, but you went in there and looked like you never even got into a fight. I'm like, yeah, other than my eye. Yeah, man.
So sometimes when you have these decision wins, especially in your case where you're the new guy on the block and people can only, see what they see before they actually watch you fight, it was almost in a weird way like beneficial for you to go the full 3 because now they could see that you got that cardio and you have that ability to go the full 15.
I was ready to keep going. I come from a championship status, so you got to realize I held a championship belt in 3 or 4 promotions at a time as a light heavyweight. So I always trained to go 5 rounds. Ever since I started, I asked my coach what the rounds were. I've never stopped training 5-minute rounds, even as an amateur. Hence why those 3 minutes were like he would say I would have like a slow start. It's because of how I pace myself through the rounds. And now I'm starting to understand that I can actually go out there, go crazy for 3-4 rounds, 5 rounds, and still not get tired. For some reason, in the process of you think I'm gassing out, a second wind hits in and my body goes numb. My freaking nerves go cold. My body gets this shiver. And then I'm like, nothing ever happened. I don't know why that happens to me, but it does.
So you mentioned November 28th. You want to be on the same card with your teammate Parker Porter, who's also going to be competing there.
Yeah.
Has the UFC expressed interest in this idea? Have they talked to you or Tyson about it? Do you feel like this is going to happen?
I hope it happens. Tyson's talking to them. We'll see what happens. If it doesn't happen, then I told him to shoot for December. But other than that, it's like, oh, I got to sit down. Other than that, I'm sitting here like, man, I just want to get one more in before the year ends, at least one more.
So if we're looking at November 28th of December, is there anybody that sticks out to you? I mean, Camur was the guy you wanted heading into that Contender Series fight. You mentioned it. You didn't say his name, but you were like, the guy that fought Fabio, that's the guy I want to fight in my debut, and that's the fight you've got. What do you want next on the other side of the octagon? Do you have an idea with that?
Whoever they offer me, man, whatever fight makes sense to start climbing this ladder, like, don't matter to me, man. If we both weigh 205, let's get it done.
What about the rematch with Tafan and Chukwi, I think, is the name.
Yeah, everybody wants that fight, but when you watch the fight, you see that it wasn't a stoppage like everyone thought. Like,
yeah, I agree.
I wasn't TKO'd. I wasn't hit. I wasn't defenseless or none of that. So you sit here and look at it like, you know what? These two will meet again. So let them both get into like top 15 and then have them fight where it really matters. Because either I fight them for the belt, I fight them for an intern belt just in case, because I know they do intern, or I'm going to fight them top 15 where that shit's going to matter the most. I fight him now, I guarantee you I'm going to fight him a third time. So it don't matter to me. I trained to fight. Like, I was in no danger that fight. More props to him. It got him to where he is today. I'm happy that somebody got somewhere, fighting me, So happy, congratulations to him, his skill. He got that head kick knockout in Contender Series, and hopefully he has his UFC debut also soon.
So the New England cartel continues to grow, and we see Tyson and Calvin and Rob Font and all the magazine covers and all the music videos. They're all over the place. Where are you? Like, when can we get you in these photo shoots? I feel like you're getting there.
The New England cartel is those guys, man. I'm a part of the Ambu Black Ops, man. You guys got to understand. Look at Naruto. Look up the Ambu Black Ops. The Ambu Black Ops are the guys that they send out for special missions. I'm the one you never heard about. I'm the one that moves in the shadows and gets the job done. And then when it's said and done, you're like, what the fuck happened? That's me.
That's a great way to look at it. Last thing before we let you go, I do want to ask you about this, if you don't mind, because there have been some comments made recently by Colby Covington with Tyron Woodley, with Kamaru Usman, and Colby's done some media talking about it. And he said one of the things that the MMA journalists have done wrong with this is they've asked fighters to give their takes on it, but no one's really approached American fighters about it. It's Israel and Leon Edwards and fighters of that nature. But Colby said, we're not asking American fighters about that. Maybe they feel differently. Have you heard Colby's comments? And if so, what do you make of all of this?
I mean, Colby, I don't know the guy. So I don't know what to think of him. Like, he could support Trump. I'm not against anybody who supports Trump or who doesn't support Trump. Like, at the end of the day, I'm me. He said some stuff that rubbed me the wrong ways when he started speaking on the man's religion. Like, he started speaking on his religion and stuff. Like, you don't speak on another man's religion. You don't speak on their beliefs and then sit here and try and be like, oh, I'm a good guy. I'm a good person. That's one line you don't cross. You don't speak on people's family or their religion. So I don't care what kind of sport you're in. You don't understand how religion holds people together. You don't understand how people's family function. That has a person functioning throughout time. So when you sit here, you can't be like, oh, his wife or his kids or his religion and shit. Like, that's the only thing that sticks out and bothers me. Like, saying woke athletes, that's another thing that was stupid. Like, it's not about being woke. It's about African Americans or minorities standing up to the justice system. The justice system isn't fair. We know this. This is for years. So they bring it to attention. You want them to shut up about it. But ask Colby this. If you can switch and be black for the rest of your life, would you do it? Would you be a black man for the rest of your life? I guarantee you his answer will be no. Ask him that question. You ever talk to him? Ask him if he would switch the life he lives now and switch and be a black man for the rest of his life. Ask him that question and tell me what the answer would be. That's to show you what kind of person he is. He's not true of nature and humble. Like, I'll talk to any and everybody. If you guys want to talk to me, cool. I'm going to talk to you. You know why? Because at the end of the day, somebody can relate to my story and I can change their life. You know how many times I thought about suicide and stuff because I was bullied or molested and things like that? Instead, I sat here and took a stand for myself and stood up for something. And now I have people that's been through what I've been through. They inbox me every day saying thank you, or I can't say no names, how they were ready to out themselves, and then my story inspired them to do better. He's the type of motherfucker that you don't want to talk to. Anyways, he sounds like an asshole. Then you got me right here ready to talk to any and everybody, because you don't know whose life you can change. The same life you change can spawn a kid now that can save your kid and become a doctor years from now. You don't know what you can do. Life is about full circle, man, and I'm about giving, man. I never had shit growing up. I had whatever my grandmother can afford and support me with. But at the end of the day, there's no greater cause than to give time. Time, man. Talk to somebody. You don't know what life you can change. People commit suicide every day. People are ready to take their lives away. You don't know one thing that you can say to that person that can save your life, man. Trust me.
Well, I got goosebumps right now. That's a perfect way to end this thing. William, congratulations, man. Incredible performance on Saturday. And hopefully you get on that November 28th card and share that moment with your teammate, man. All the best to you. And hopefully we hear some news soon.
Definitely, man. Thanks.
You're listening to the Vox Media Podcast Network.